The story begins by introducing us to our main protagonist named Mo Fan, a third-year junior high student. He was nervous about the entrance exam he had to take part in, and it wasn't due to him lacking in class, but rather because the subject was about magic. In this academy he enters, all of the third-grade students will soon enter the desired school of magic, but for this they need to pass a demanding test exam. Mo Fan explains that he hasn't had the right amount of time to study, because 3 months ago, he was sleeping in the mountains where he was greeted by a mysterious old man who gave him a necklace. So now, his classmates always annoy and make fun of him for being the one most likely not to pass, and shame him for being the worst in the class. We then get introduced to a boy named Mu Bai, who is the complete opposite of Mo Fan and is the most popular in his class, also known for being a part of a family who specializes in ice magic. After school, his father is waiting outside, and although his father has always been very humble and does whatever is necessary for the good of his son, he is still worried about his son's future, as his grades are low and he doesn't have enough points to get into the school of magic. But he tells his son that he found him a job as a delivery driver, which he can do instead of magic. But Mo Fan pleads with his father and promises he will study even more to get into the school. So his father tells him not to worry and says he will do everything he can to make sure he gets into the magic school. While walking home with his friend, Mo Fan saw his father speaking to his boss. He is the leader of the Mu family, who are the richest and most powerful in the city. However, this family has a humiliating personality, especially with Mo Fan's family. During a flashback scene, we see that they have known the Mu family for quite some time. When Mo Fan was younger, he spent a lot of time with the daughter of the Mu family. Then one day, the daughter wanted to escape from her family because she doesn't agree with the way they do things. So she sneaks out and asks Mo Fan to help her escape. However, they were caught by the boss, and he ended up punishing Mo Fan's father for his actions. We now go back to the present, and the boss said that he will help with his son's future and make sure he gets into the school of magic, but only in exchange for their house and mortgage, so he can turn it into his land. His father then agrees to give up their home, just so Mo Fan can have a chance to become a magician. Later on, when he breaks the news to his son, Mo Fan is ecstatic about going to the school of magic, but his father doesn't mention the fact that he had to give up their own home. Instead, he tells Mo Fan he will be renting out their house once he enters the Magic Academy. But Mo Fan knows the real truth, since he saw him earlier talking with the boss. The next day, everyone starts their first day of magic school, where all the students will need to awaken their elemental powers. Some of the students discuss the elemental powers they obtain once they go through the awakening process, and they say that lightning and fire are the rarest powers you can get. The teacher gives everyone a badge to wear, and once they obtain their power, it will light up according to the element they possess. For instance, red would be fire, blue is for ice, and gold is for light. The other classmates make fun of Mo Fan for being the only student who didn't pass the exams, and everyone tells him not to be surprised if he can't be awakened. Each student will need to place their hand on the stone, which will reveal their elemental power. Mu Bai is the first to use the stone, and he was given the ice power just like the rest of his family. Once you obtain the elemental power, the badge will show stars representing the level of your ability. However, most people don't have many stars to begin with, but Mu Bai already has 1 star, showing his ability is strong. The other students take turns using the stone until the teacher calls out Mo Fan's name, and the others start laughing, saying he will be given the worst power for failing the exam. Then, Mo Fan walks up and stands in front of the class and places his hand on the stone. The others are still laughing, since he doesn't know how to use the stone, but the teacher helps him. After some time, nothing happens. Then, the whole class gets distracted by the classroom next door, because a student has obtained the purple ability, which is lightning. It is known as the rarest ability, along with the element of fire. While everyone leaves the classroom, Mo Fan closes his eyes, and the stone lights up purple. But it also lights up red at the same time, indicating that Mo Fan has gained not only the element of fire, but also the lightning ability, something that has never been seen before, and also making him the most powerful student in the school. Although nobody saw what happened, because they were being distracted by the other student next door who also obtained the lightning power, they all see that Mo Fan has acquired the element of fire. The teacher congratulates him, and the other students are surprised, as they all thought he was going to get one of the worst elements. Mo Fan then starts laughing inside his head, because he knows he just obtained the lightning power, but everyone thinks he only has the fire element. 2 months later, all the students are told by their teacher that there are 7 stars which will appear once they are awakened, and they will need to learn how to control the stars by concentrating so they can form a star path, which will allow them to unlock their full power. The teacher asks Mubai to demonstrate how to align the stars, since Mubai has already gained 5 stars, which makes him the highest-ranking student in the class. However, Mo-fan only has 1 star. They all make fun of him and laugh, because he hasn't made any progress with his element, and they all say he's an embarrassment to the rest of the class. But the reason he only has 1 star next to his badge is because it only represents his fire element, and not his other lightning power, which is already at 6 stars, and he still needs to master the 7th. Later on, Mo-fan stumbles across his sister at the park. His sister can't walk properly unless she uses the wheelchair, but Mo-fan notices that the thugs have taken her wheelchair and begin to make fun of his sister. He went over to the thugs and asks for the wheelchair back, but they tell him to get lost, or they will make him disabled, just like his sister. He gets angry, and at this moment, he uses the stars to unlock his full power, and he managed to form the star path, activating the 7th star. Mo-fan uses the lightning ability to attack the thugs, who beg him for mercy and run away in fear. Mubai visits the boss of the family, and they discuss his 5-star abilities, and the boss is proud of Mubai for how far he has come. He asks Mubai about Mo-fan, to which he replies saying that Mo-fan is only a 1-star and is branded as the school's worst magician. The boss told Mubai they will need to find a way to take Mo-fan out of the class and make him fail the next exam. The next day, Mubai asks him how he plans to get Mo-fan expelled from the school, to which he replies, saying he will use this small stone, also known as a magic stone, which can absorb energy, and they can use it to make sure Mo-fan gets worse than a D in his next exam. But their plan might not work out so well, because Mo-fan has been training his fire power and has the ability to use 5 stars, but he says it's still not good enough and that his fire energy is too low. So, he begins to concentrate more than ever before to prove to the Mu family that he is a worthy magician and deserves to be at the School of Magic. The day of the exam is here, and the teacher explains that they will be doing a test on how powerful they have become over the last couple of months. To test their powers, they will use a crystal ball, which can determine the amount of power they've reached, because the ball will glow, and if it glows the right amount, then they have become strong enough. All the students line up in formation and begin testing their powers. The school's most outstanding student, named Mu Ningshui, has been selected to demonstrate the exam before the rest of the students take part. She uses the crystal, and it reveals the power of her ice magic, which shocks the other students. Everyone starts to take turns using the ball and revealing their power levels. Some of them get a B, and others get A's. Then eventually Mubai has his turn, and he reaches the grade S, which is the max grade you can receive. Then, Mo-fan has his name called out to test his power. When he gets called out, the boss notifies the examiner to place the magic stone under the crystal ball to absorb Mo-fan's true power, resulting in him only getting a B. Mo-fan is suspicious and feels like something's wrong, as he's sure his power is much greater than this. So Mo-fan uses the ball again, and this time, he ends up breaking the stone. After seeing Mo-fan's second try, his new teacher feels like something is wrong with the crystal and tells them it must be faulty. So the inspector changes it, and upon changing the ball, we finally get to see Mo-fan's true power, and as a result, they give him an S score, making his fellow classmates proud. He also goes on to tell the examiners that he wants to do the optional test, and here is where he shocks the other classmates, as they get to witness his true powers of the fire element. He's now considered the #1 most powerful in his class. After that, the Mu family leader, Mu Zhuoyun, offers Mo-fan a ring as a symbol of his respect and admiration for getting an S rating, and asks Mo-fan to put all their family differences aside and work for him to represent the Mu family. But Mo-fan takes this opportunity to tell him that he and the rest of his family are total scum who go around humiliating others, just like they did to his father. The teacher tells Mo-fan to calm down and to apologize to Mu Zhuoyun, but Mo-fan says he won't apologize, and mentions all the things the Mu family did to them 3 years ago. The Mu family tells the teacher that Mo-fan should be kicked out for being rude to guests, but the teacher says he can't be expelled just for having an argument, unless it went too far. So Mubai challenges Mo-fan to a duel, and then the leader of the Mu family says he will be dueling his foster son instead, named Yuang. Mo Fan accepts the duel match. However, this duel can only happen in 2 years because they are not old enough yet, and the school wouldn't allow it. 2 years later, the new semester begins, and the professor welcomes them to the elite class, only for the top-ranked mages, where the students will receive exclusive relics known as magic EQs that will drastically improve their training. The top 4 students in the class will have a month to use the EQ. However, the teacher tells Mo Fan that because of the argument he had with the Mu family, he will only get to use the EQ equipment for 10 days. But Mo Fan has another EQ, which is the necklace the old man gave to him. His teacher, Miss Tang Yue, visits Mo Fan, who explains to him that this necklace is the most powerful relic, one that was thought to be extinct. She tells him that this necklace is a growth-type EQ, which absorbs all types of souls and spirits, and continues to grow your abilities, so he should cherish it. The students head up into the mountains to meet the leader of an army, to do some basic training, or so they thought, because the leader of the army wants these students to participate in an exercise called the hunting program, where these students will be hunting real enemies and get to test their mage skills. So Mo Fan and the others start completing various different tasks until they come across a cave. The leader of the army told them to retrieve a bracelet, which he lost inside the cave, but the one-eyed wolves are lurking inside. The commander told them it was the one-eyed wolf in the cave, but that was a lie, because the wolf is actually called the spirit wolf, which is under the command of their orders to go soft on the students, to fully test their skills. They all head inside the cave, and eventually come across the giant wolf. Most of the students are frightened, apart from Mubai, who uses his ice magic, but it doesn't do much damage to the monster. Mo Fan then quickly helps a girl who is brave enough to step in front of the beast, but Mo Fan knew she wouldn't be able to harm it, and took her out of the cave. The same girl ran back inside to prove that she's a strong mage. However, even her second attempt didn't hurt the monster, and she was saved just in time by the student with the lightning power. Mubai also goes in for his second attempt, but gets thrown to the ground. Then, Mo Fan enters the cave just in time and puts his magic to the test by activating his stars. He uses the fire element to blast fireballs at the beast, and it unlocks a new level of ignition, and now he's at level 2 ignite. This shocks the teachers who were watching from above. The commander notifies the other teachers that the wolf is no longer listening to his commands, and he can't control it, so the students may be in danger. They go down to save them. The beast was out of control, so Mo Fan and his friend Zhang Xiaohu lured the beast deeper into the cave in order to protect the other students. After they both lure him in, the beast attacks Zhang Xiaohu, and he's knocked down. Then, for the first time, Mo Fan combines both his abilities to take down the spirit wolf. After slaying the beast, his necklace starts to absorb all the energy from the spirit, making him even more powerful. His teacher tells him he's surprised that a student was able to defeat the wolf, as the spirit wolf's power is just as strong as the real one-eyed wolf. As the task is completed, all students will receive a score on the test, all thanks to Mo Fan. But Mo Fan doesn't care about the praise, as he is more focused on releasing his true power. Once he defeated the beast, he was able to unlock level 2 fire, and realizes how powerful it was against the monster. So, he aims to achieve the same level 2 power for his lightning ability. He remembers everything Miss Tang Yue told him about the necklace, which he can use to absorb many different souls. So, he decides to become a hunter, to evolve the necklace even more, and thus improve his powers. Mo Fan heads into the city to join the team of hunters. He enters the Hunters' Hall and asks a stranger how to join the city hunters. The man tells Mo Fan there's a huge waiting line in order to join, and says they won't accept mages who don't have at least a fire power. So Mo Fan tells him, "How about lightning power?" The man replies, saying you shouldn't lie just to try and join, and to tell the truth. The man seems to believe Mo Fan truly doesn't have the lightning power, and explains that only 1 in 1,000 mages acquire this element. So Mo Fan leaves. While he's walking off, the leader of the hunters, who's tired of all the low-ranking mages who keep applying to the city hunters, tells his associates to only bring in people who've had some experience as a hunter before. They then eventually get to Mo Fan and ask him for his hunter certificate. He replies saying he doesn't own one. So they tell him to get lost, as they only want experienced hunters, not newbies. He tells them that he is a lightning power mage, and shocks them, because they've never seen a lightning mage in person, as they are very rare. They ask him to prove it, and he forms the star path using his lightning ability. He introduces himself as Fan Mo. He then meets the leader, who accepts him into the City Hunters and explains that they have a mission at a local school where the monsters have attacked. But they tell Mo Fan to stay behind, since he's only a new member. He tells them he wants to join them on this mission. Mo Fan then realizes that the school which was attacked by the monsters is his sister's school, so he calls her, and she tells him she's okay, but the other students have been taken by the monsters. Mo Fan arrives at the scene and starts to investigate, and soon meets the one-eyed beast, which seems to be quite strong. He faces off with the beast, and fortunately it reaches the rest of the team, who now demonstrate why they are known as the elite group of hunters. That's when the youngest of the group makes a mistake while using her powers, but thanks to Mo Fan's lightning power, he manages to take down the beast. The beast is totally paralyzed, preventing the girl from getting hurt. They all thank Mo Fan for being there and saving her life, and they accept him as a part of the team. Mo Fan begins to fit in well with the group and becomes a respected hunter. The Mu family has been preparing the strongest male ice mage, called Yu-ang, and he will be the one who will be doing the duel with Mo Fan. Yu-ang asks why he was selected as the mage to fight Mo Fan, and the boss explains that it's to celebrate his coming of age, and that he can invite the whole family to celebrate. Meanwhile, at school, his classmate Shu Min asks Mo Fan to meet her after school. She explains that she heard stories about strange things happening at a compound, and she wanted to investigate the area with the strongest mage in the class. He agrees, and helps her check it out. They come across another one-eyed wolf, but this one is different. Mo Fan tells her this is the real one-eyed wolf that the city hunters have been trying to find all this time. He tells Shu Min that he'll give the location to the rest of the team, but Shu Min has already phoned the police. The wolf hears the sound of the ringing phone and instantly chases them. So Mo Fan does everything he possibly can to take care of the monster. However, even after several powerful attacks, he cannot seem to kill the beast. That's when a member of the city hunters, named Kai Tang, arrives from the city. She is an ice mage, who is also part of the Mu family. Then, Shu Min tells her about Mo Fan, who's currently fighting the one-eyed wolf, and they quickly rush over to help him, just in time to immobilize the wolf. Kai Tang remembers Mo Fan because she saw him when he was younger, and she caught him through the window. She then tells Yu-ang that his name is Mo Fan, and that he attends the School of Magic, and insulted their uncle. Yu-ang is surprised that he's just seen Mo Fan for the first time, as this is the guy he'll be dueling with. When Mo Fan runs away, Kai Tang calls the city hunters and explains that they have tamed the wolf, but they need Mo Fan's lightning power to paralyze it. Upon arriving, he meets all the other hunters, who ask him to use the lightning power on the wolf. However, after using his power, the wolf turns red and eventually evolves into something called a general class and gets even stronger. Some agree to back out and leave, as the odds are in its favor, but the captain insists they should at least try to defeat it, as many lives are at risk if they just do nothing. This is when they all come together and use their powers with all their might, and they try to contain the beast, which turns out to be quite resistant. And although they are very experienced mages, the wolf doesn't stop increasing its strength. So after that, they corner up as a group, and Mo Fan decides to use the lightning power to stun the wolf. He manages to maintain it for a while, but this is still no match for the beast, as this particular wolf is still a much higher level than him. So their only hope is this guy who suddenly appears out of nowhere. He is the strongest water mage in Asia, named Mr. Yang. Mr. Yang uses his advanced water element to eliminate the beast, and gives praise to Mo Fan for being brave enough to go head-to-head against the one-eyed wolf. Afterwards, Mo Fan absorbs the soul from the wolf, and obtains a new level of power. Soon, the day of his fight against Yu-ang approaches, and the director gives him a little encouragement, but at the same time, he's worried, since he doesn't have much confidence that Mo Fan will win. The director tells him the real purpose of this event, the exclusive reward for the winner. They will have access to the Sacred Spring, an arena where mage skills can be improved in a drastic way. This makes Mo Fan realize how Mr. Yang was so powerful, as he must have gone to the Sacred Spring in order to achieve the advanced level mage. Now, Mo Fan is really intrigued about winning this contest, but it seems like no one has any faith in him. He even talks to his childhood friend, and she tells him that he better not show up tomorrow, because Yu-ang will not hold back, and she doesn't want to see him get hurt. But Mo Fan tells her that Yuang should be the one who's scared, because he is fully prepared for tomorrow. He says that he's been waiting for this day to fight for his honor, and to beat the family who has humiliated his dad for many years. The day of the duel arrives, and Mo Fan approaches the convention, where all the most important people in the city will be attending to witness Yuang's coming of age. All the guests arrive outside, and Mo Fan approaches Kai Tang, who tells him he shouldn't be walking on the red carpet and acting like a VIP guest. Mo Fan forgot that they don't know he's their friend Fan Mo, who's part of the city hunters. Mo Fan turns up on his own, but some of his friends show up, including his classmates, the army leader from the training program, and his father. They're all here to support him, although most of them think he won't win. They both shake hands, and the duel begins. They both show incredible power, but because Yuang is a part of the Mu family, he has very unique magic equipment, allowing him to move incredibly fast, making it hard for Mo Fan to land a single hit. Yuang taunts him, and says his level 3 ice power is too strong for Mo Fan's level 2 fire ignite. He unleashes an ice storm attack on Mo Fan, so Mo Fan remembers his training from the city hunters, where he absorbed the wolf's soul, and aligns the 7th star to release his true fire ability. He creates a fireball all around him, which protects him from the ice storm. He then uses a fire explosion to knock down Yuang. However, Yuang gets back up and tells Mo Fan he's lucky he unlocked his level 3 ability, or a piece of trash like him could never win. He then reveals why he's so strong, by using specialized body armor. Even the Mu family leader is surprised they had to use this armor against a nobody like Mo Fan. Everyone in the crowd says how unfair the match is, due to Yuang using the armor. Even the leader of the army tells Mo Fan to quit the duel immediately. Yuang tells Mo Fan that the armor was a gift from his father, and says his father could never buy him anything of the sort, calling him a poor kid and telling him to quit the duel. But Mo Fan remembers what his father did for him to get him into the School of Magic, and he proceeds with the duel by unleashing his maximum lightning power. He reveals, for the first time, that he is a double elemental mage. This time he combines both powers and manages to break Yuang's body armor, and it all ends with an amazing but unexpected victory from Mo Fan. If you guys would like me to review the second season, please leave a comment below, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, guys, take care.